smoke weed. I know this. But I'm gonna get you high today. Cause it's Friday, you ain't got no job, and you ain't got shit to do.
Good evening. Welcome to this week's edition of the WayBack Movies Podcast, a show where we review the best and not so best of 80s and 90s cinema, because really, fuck the 2000s. My name is Steve, and with me on this crazy journey,
Justin.
Doctor. So here we are.
Yes, sir. Continuing our Black History Month.
Yes.
By taking things in a more comedic route and a less musical route.
Although
ironically,
yeah,
starring a musician.
But, we did have to step away. There's a lot more to this movie than I thought, which I thought was really cool. But yes, we are covering the Stoner Classic Friday.
I guess that's how it would be classified.
It's definitely classified that. It's actually known throughout as the first African-American stoner movie.
Yeah.
You know? And now that you think about it, you're like, oh yeah, I guess it is, isn't it? Because I never thought of it before, but yeah, every other stoner movie was mostly, well, pretty much Cheech and Chong, although they weren't white, but, you know, I can't really think of, before
Tommy
that,
Chong,
any other... Tommy Chong's Asian.
Oh, yeah, Tommy Chong.
You know? Yeah, but other than that, I can't think of any other, definitely not any other African-American, let alone even white people, really, stoner comedies at that point. Movies that became stoner comedies considered it, like Clerks, for instance, but that wasn't a stoner comedy.
Retroactively.
Retroactively, for sure.
This was, like, right out the gate.
Oh, yeah.
Because, again, weed is essential.
Mm-hmm. I mean, literally, what we just played you is the opening dialogue of the film. So, clearly, weed is a major factor in this flick, so, yeah.
I guess we'll just jump right into it.
Yeah, I mean, if you want to talk about the thing itself, or we can just save it until the actual movie, but I guess you could actually, no, you know what, let's talk about this now, but they're still talking about potentially doing a final one.
Oh yeah. Last Friday has been on the books
for a while
since,
now.
Friday after next wrapped.
Yeah.
Well, I think, honestly, it's because they want to get Chris Tucker back.
Yeah, but apparently, according to everyone, it's not going to happen. Especially John Witherspoon was asked fairly recently, and he's just like, that's not going to happen. So, I don't know. I mean, it looks like it isn't going to happen. Did you know there was a fucking animated series in 2007, MTV?
Yeah, I never saw it.
I want to see it, like, desperately, even though it's ridiculous. I'm sure it's terrible, but I kind of want to see it. I don't know, just for prosperity, but I could not find it, and I'm not
because we're not going to be able to
buy it.
Talk about the sequels, but
no,
there were very diminishing returns.
Yeah, although I will give an honorable mention to Next Friday. I enjoyed it when I first saw it, and every other time I've seen it since. It's not great, but it definitely holds up. It's got its moments. But they definitely went a lot, which is weird to say after we talk about this flick, they definitely went a lot more silly.
Yeah.
It became a little less believable. It became kind of ridiculous, but either way, you know, still not terrible, but Friday After Next was fucking god-awful. So
Cat Williams kind of saved it a bit.
A little bit, but I mean, when he wasn't there, why bother watching it? It was kind of how I thought about that sequel. It was just kind of shitty.
So there you go. That's our quick reviews.
There you go.
So we'll jump into...
Yes. So we'll just go into the WayBack Machine to April 26th, 1995. Whoa, here we are, 1995. This is I'm 2 months left of middle school. I'm about to go to high school. Yeah. All right. And I don't even remember if I watched this movie or not that year. It might have been a couple years later I watched it, but I don't know what else was in 95 that I was watching that I would have noticed. I really have no idea, but...
I'm sure we'll discover as we continue this journey.
I'll be like, oh yeah, I did watch that movie, didn't I? But yeah, so... Excuse me, folks, just getting my shit together here. As we discussed Friday, like I said, April 26, 1995. Directed by F. Gary Gray. We'll talk about him later, I'm sure. Written by Ice Cube and DJ Pooh. Produced by Patricia Charbonnet. Production company New Line Productions and Ghetto Bird Productions. Distributed by New Line Cinema. Box office of $28.2 million against a budget of $3.5 million. Damn. That did well.
You can see why there's sequels.
Exactly. So, the cast. Ice Cube plays Craig Jones. Chris Tucker plays Smokey. Nia Long plays Debbie. Tiny Lister Jr. plays Debo. John Witherspoon is Willie...
Tiny Zeus Lister.
We'll get the nickname when the nickname is appropriate, sir. He did not have the billing of Zeus in this movie.
Yes, he did.
He did not.
Yes, he did.
Nah.
The credits. I watched it yesterday.
I beg to differ. So did I. I beg to differ.
In the credits, it literally says Tiny Zeus Lister. Junior,
How long did he hold on to that? Because I know he doesn't have it now, but
just saying, it's in the credits.
Either way. John Witherspoon as Willie Jones, Anna Maria Harsford as Betty Jones, Regina King as Dana Jones, Paula J. Parker as Joy, Bernie Mac as Pastor Cleaver, Faison Love as Big Worm, DJ Pooh as Red, Anthony Johnson as Easel, and Angela Means as Felicia.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's basically the entire cast, I think. So, some notes on the flick itself. Ice Cube, after being in Boys in the Hood, liked acting and started reading scripts. Like, you know, when you become an actor, they start just handing you scripts. Like, oh, do you want to do this? You want to do this?
Well, he was really good.
He was fantastic. We'll get to that movie someday, I'm sure. But he didn't like any of them, so he decided to write his own. Which, okay, makes sense.
All of this is crap. I could do better.
Yeah. Prior to Friday's release, movies such as Boys in the Hood and Colors portrayed life in the hood as violent and menacing, so Ice Cube decided that these films did not portray the entire picture. So he decided that it was kind of missing more of a lighthearted element. So that was kind of his idea behind it, I think. So prior to writing, the duo realized that their inexperience as filmmakers was unlikely to attract major film studios and floated the idea of self-financing the films themselves. For a time, the idea of making the film in black and white to save money was considered before the pair decided to they decided to approach New Line Cinema about producing the film, who had achieved success with the House Party franchise, and they kind of decided they wanted to replicate it. And considering what I just said about the black and white, Ice Cube and director F. Gary Gray both stated that they modeled Friday after the film Clerks. Sound about right? Two guys hanging out, takes place in one day, weird shit just happens and they comment on it.
So this movie comes out in 1995.
Clerks was 94.
So, okay. So they literally watched Clerks go,
yeah, we could do that.
You know, we could put that, but just put it in South Central and...
Kinda, yeah. It seemed like that's what they were going for.
Does Kevin Smith know that?
I don't know, but I'm sure he would be like, oh my god, they made a better movie out of mine. You know, that just sounds about right. Script was the third Ice Cube had written. Previous two were undeveloped. With the film, Ice Cube intended to make a hood classic that could be watched over and over again.
Success!
You did it.
Mission!
Accomplished. According to Ice Cube, a majority of the film is autobiographical, with much of it being based on events that occurred in his neighborhood growing up. Smokey was based on DJ Pooh's stint as a drug dealer, while Craig being fired on his day off was based on Ice Cube's cousin who was working as a driver for UPS at the time.
Who actually got fired on his day off? He did
get fired on his day off, I guess. Cube was granted license to select the film's director and decided on Gray, who was a music video director whom he'd worked with on It Was a Good Day as well as others. Feeling the director would accurately capture the film's aesthetic and would not have to be coached on any aspect of the film. Which, I guess that did work.
Correct.
Gray said that Ice Cube starring in a comedy, quote, scared the shit out of me, as he doubted whether audiences would buy into Cube portraying a role so different from his public persona.
Yeah, because when you think now, after the whatever, Are We There Yet?
Are We There Yet? And
franchise
fucking whatever,
and
yeah.
fist fight and all that, sure, you could buy him as a comedic actor now, but
But
back then,
he was the most hardcore rapper in the game. So it's kind of weird to be like, and he's making jokes. This is strange. He did say in a documentary I watched, he's like, I don't think I've ever seen him smile. He does smile in the movie, so that helps.
Yeah.
DJ Pooh, who portrays Red, was originally set to play Smokey. However, New Line pressed producers to find a better-known actor, reaching a deal with Chris Tucker lately.
Better-known actor. This is his first real movie.
They also had to fight to get Chris Tucker.
Yeah, okay, what's it say?
But originally they wanted Chris Rock or Tommy Davidson. Which, Chris Rock I could see. Tommy Davidson would be a little too cartoonish, I think.
He's kind of up there with Chris Tucker and, like, his, like, mannerisms and his...
Yeah. I don't know. Chris Rock would have been interesting, but I think he would have come off as more hardcore than Ice Cube in the movie, which is would be a little weird. So, no surprise here, Chris Tucker improvised many of his lines in the movie, including the line, "You got knocked the fuck out." But apparently, according to Gray, a lot of the comedians in the movie were big fans of improvising their dialogue instead of doing what was on the page.
Well, because you're a comedian.
Yeah.
It's like, I can say funnier things than what you're giving me.
But it wasn't always the case, to the point where they were actually saying that one of the lines that Gary used to basically say all the time was just like, basically you'd hear three things from him. Action, cut, and are you fucking with me? So, apparently not everything they said was gold. Movie was filmed at 126th Street between Hallidale and Normandy in south central Los Angeles. Neighborhood where the film takes place is the street where director F. Gary Gray grew up. Principal houses that were used for filming were houses of his old friends. And the scene where Debo punches Red into the air is the house where Gray grew up in.
Oh, there you go.
So, yeah, I think he knew it a little bit. Cast members were warned not to wear red due to their safety, because the film was shot in Crip neighborhood. That's why Smokey's wearing blue.
Mm-hmm.
In the theatrical version, we are not immediately introduced to the Jones family. The extended version of the film introduces viewers to several supporting characters. Debo, Ezal, and Ezel. Why did I write it that way? I don't know. Stanley, etc. before the Jones family, which is just a bad idea, considering he's the star. You usually want to start with him.
It's weird, because I might have seen that cut.
Oh, yeah?
Because the movie I saw had all those people in before they got to the house.
Really?
Yeah.
Huh. That was not the one I saw.
So, I don't know.
Interesting. We'll see how this one differs as we go through. We're not saying how we watch these movies. Just saying. This movie was released 1 month after the death of former NWA bandmate Eazy-E. So
not a fun time.
Not
for
a
Ice
great...
Cube.
No. Although I don't think they were friends at the time, so...
Yeah, but, I'm sure near the end, some things were at least squashed, I hope.
Maybe. Hopefully, anyway. In the flashback scene where Smokey's in the car with Hector and his friend, a man can be seen sitting on the block wall in the background. The man's a resident of the neighborhood who just refused to leave. And he used to like to screw with the production, just be like, I'm on my property, you can't tell me to leave. And he'd be drunk and belligerent and start yelling shit at people and everything like that. But they're like, well, we can't do anything. They offered him money, they offered him a walk-on role in the film, but he wouldn't move.
Well, that's what happens when you want to film on location.
Pretty much. Also, the other flashback where Red gets knocked out, the guy to the far right is Michael Clark Duncan. In his first film role, he begged F. Gary Gray for a line in the film and was turned down. And Gary has repeatedly apologized for that, considering how big a deal Michael Clark Duncan became.
Yep.
The clothes that Ice Cube wears at the beginning and the end of the film are the same clothes he wore at the end of Boys in the Hood. And then one more is when the cast and crew first watched the movie, they thought, well, we fucked up.
Really?
They thought it was terrible.
Huh.
And then when people were lining up around the block to watch it, it was like, okay, maybe they didn't think it was terrible.
I could see why Cube thought that, because you're always toughest on your own work, right? Mm-hmm. You're always going to be the one that goes, oh, that was just shit.
Oh, yeah.
Like 1,000 people could tell you, no, that was like one of the best movies ever. But like, no.
No, it wasn't. It was shit. What are you talking about? What movie you watching?
Because you're just so self-criticizing. Because he's a musician too, right?
Yeah.
On top of it, so he's like super extra critical.